Okay. So yeah, my name is Sierra Murphy. I am the advisor here at CGIS for all the environmental programs, and today I'm here to present the programs in the Environment Abroad presentation. So some program highlights. So take present focused theme-based courses that are all taught in English. So no matter what environmental program you do, whether it's Turks and Caicos to Bhutan, all your courses will be in English. Depending on the environmental program, though, there may be a class where they like try to teach you a little bit of the local language. But the programs are open to any major. Some programs do have prerequisites, but obviously the most students we get are usually from PITE. These courses will be field-based. Hands-on experiential learning is a key element to each one of these programs. And alongside students from over the US, you'll be taking these programs with. About each environmental program has around 20 students per program. So most of these students will be from all over the US, and you may have a bunch of Michigan people as well, depending on what semester you go to and what program you decide to apply for. So you will have opportunities for directed research as well as internships. And many programs incorporate extended field trips and travel within the host country. And programs are operated by trusted CGIS partners. And then all LSA students will earn in residence credit. And what in residence basically means, I'll touch upon this later. But just to tell you, in residence means whatever grade you get in the program, that grade will show up on your U of M transcript and it's going to affect your GPA as if you got that same grade here at U of M. So, the School for Field Studies, also known as FSS, they are one of the providers that hosts most of our environmental programs. So, School of Field Studies contributes to a legacy of environmental research and stewardship. Experienced research scientists will push you to get creative as you work to understand the critical environmental issues of our time, and then get ready for muddy boots, cold showers, and get dirt under your fingernails because you'll be doing field work the entire time. And yes, you will be having classes in the classroom, but you will be out and about outside for the majority of your time. And then for prerequisites, we want 1 semester of college level ecology, biology, or some other environmental science program if you were going for the semester. And for School of Field Studies, the different programs that we have are Bhutan, Cambodia, Chile, Kenya, Panama, Tanzania, Turks and Caicos. So for the first program, we're going to talk about the environmental studies at Paro, Bhutan. So you can do this program during the summer next year or during the winter or fall semester. So during this program, if you go during the semester, you will take 5 courses. And then we have some major academic themes that include mountain and forest ecology and conservation, climate change, geology and hydrology of mountain regions, forest and natural resource management, environmental governance, gross national happiness, and the influence of Buddhist philosophy on conservation, urban migration and development, and then agriculture and food security. And then we have conservation and development studies in Siam Reef, Cambodia. So just like Bhutan, you could take this program during the winter or fall. We currently do not have it for spring, summer as of right now, but that may change, upcoming next year. As of right now, we didn't have it for summer 25, but it may come back for summer 26. Obviously, we'll let you guys know if it does. For this program as well, you'll be taking 5 classes. And then for your major academic themes, these will include climate change impacts, elephant ecology and conservation, traditional medicine and ecological knowledge, community conservation strategies, protected areas and threatened ecosystems, and environmental ethics and justice. And then obviously we're going to have also some resource governance. And then we have climate studies and Puerto Natales, Chile. So 5 classes as well. And then you'll be taking 18 credits for 15 weeks. And this program is offered only during the semester. So some major academic themes for this program will include climate change impacts, resilience, glacial and freshwater dynamics, geology and volcanic activity, penguin behavior, endangered species protection, coastal and alpine ecology, conservation strategy and practice, and then national park and protected area management. And then we have wildlife and ecology in Kimana, Kenya. So 5 classes for a total of 18 credits. You can do this program during the summer next year, or you can also do it during fall or this upcoming winter. And then some major academic themes include wildlife management, climate change resilience, water conservation, wildlife ecology and behavior, conservation strategies, community governance of protected areas, and national park management. And then the last School of Field Studies program we have here is the Wildlife Management Studies in Rotia, Tanzania. So you'll be taking 5 classes, 18 credits. You can do this program in the summer next year or during fall or upcoming winter. And some of the major academic themes are similar to the one in Kenya as they are both, wildlife management programs, but this one is wildlife conservation, climate change impacts, African large mammal behavior and ecology, field ornithology, human wildlife conflict, habitat assessment, community-based conservation, and reptile ecology and conservation. And then we also have Panama. I forgot about that one. Tropical Island Biodiversity Studies in Isacolon, Panama. You'll be taking 5 classes for a total of 18 credits. Now, this one is not actually in the spring summer. I will take that off. We do not have Panama for the spring summer, but you can do it for fall or winter. And then some major academic themes do include climate change impacts, rainforest and marine ecology, indigenous tourism and sustainability, marine protected areas, conservation and natural resource management, ecosystem health assessment, and tourism impacts on ecosystems and human populations. Then we have the Turks and Caicos marine resource studies. I know after I said Tanzania that was the last one. We have these two. My apologies. Actually, Turks and Caicos and Panama are the 2 most popular School of Field Studies programs that we have, and 2 of our most popular in general, just environmental programs that we have here at CGIS. So for this one, you won't be taking 18 credits, you'll be taking 16 instead for 4 classes, and you can do this program in the spring, summer, or in the fall or upcoming winter. Some major academic themes include marine ecology and conservation, climate change and ocean acidification, approaches to sustainable tourism and fisheries, marine resource management, traditional island livelihoods, coral health and resilience, marine protected areas, and then coastal management. And then we have our next provider, EcoQuest. So EcoQuest runs both of our New Zealand programs. As of right now, the only program that we do have is EcoQuest Field Studies and Waka Tiwaki, New Zealand. Thank you for that. But yeah, that is the only program we have right now, as the one in Aotearoa is no longer running according to EcoQuest. So we still do have one for you. You can do this program during the fall or winter, or you can go next summer as well. But just to talk a little bit more about EcoQuest. EcoQuest education abroad programs offer interdisciplinary hands-on learning and a vibrant, sustainable learning community. Students will be challenged to combine existing knowledge and awareness with new experiences and concepts through involvement in real-world issues and problem solving. Programs provide rigorous academic pursuit and hands-on learning from the mountains to the sea, full immersion learning across the range of stunning sites in the North and South Islands of New Zealand. And then just to talk a little bit more about that program, you'll be taking a total of 16 credits for 4 classes. You will have extended field trips of the North and South Islands. You'll collaborate with the Maori people and do different community group activities with them. And then some major academic things include natural resource management, sustainable eco and nature tourism, environmental policy, biodiversity, and human impact on native ecosystems. And then we have this program. So this program is by our provider, SIT. And then SIT offers climate change into Arctic and Iceland. So you'll be taking a total of 4 courses for a total of 16 credits. For this one, you will be staying with homestays, whereas like, let's say for the School of Field Studies programs or for the EcoQuest programs, you'll be staying maybe in like cabins, bungalows, things of that nature. This one, you will be with a homestay family the entire time. So study impacts of climate change on Arctic ecosystems and societies. You will visit renewable energy centers, glaciers, and awe-inspiring scenery. You will see the impacts of global warming on glaciers and ice sheets in the remote risk for the region. and then you will observe ground zero of climate change amidst studying landscapes and learn about renewable technologies that can help slow the damage. You can also learn about climate models and carbon management from experts in the front lines of their fight against global warming. And then we have our provider, ICADS. So ICADS is ICADS, and they do our Environmental and Sustainable Development Program in San Jose, Costa Rica. So the prerequisite for this one is you have to take at least 2 semesters of college level Spanish, and you also will be living in a homestay. For this program, you'll be taking a total of 4 courses for a total of 15 credits. You will gain research experience in the natural and social sciences while learning to address environmental issues from a multidisciplinary perspective. You're going to focus on sustainable development issues while exploring and traveling in Costa Rica's microclimates. You're also going to understand how current economic and political conditions will impact development in the region. And then just some additional notes. So we're going to talk about program costs, course approvals, multiple application policies, financial aid, LSA study abroad scholarships, and then our CGIS website and advising page. So program costs. So these are all partner study abroad programs. So what that means is students will pay a program fee directly to the partner. This will either be School of Field Studies, SIT, EcoQuest, or ICADS. You will not be paying U of M tuition for any of these programs. The only thing CGIS is going to charge you is your GeoBlue insurance, and we require that for students going on any CGIS program. Students will pay additional costs such as like housing, airfare, food, and personal expenses. So in general, for all of our environmental programs, housing is included in the program fee, but depending on the program, like for example, some of the School of Field Studies programs do what they call a program break. So they give you like a spring break during like a 1 or 2 week like time. And during that time, you will need to find your own housing. That is not covered by School of Field Studies, so you will need to pay that out of pocket. But in general, most of our programs have housing already included. You don't have to worry about that. Just check the budget sheet to see if I have listed a program break, which will be like that spring break I just told you about. And specific additional costs will depend on the program. So for example, for Turks and Caicos, you can opt to learn how to scuba dive and get certified. That costs money. To rent gear costs extra money. To get other certifications related to like scuba diving, things of that nature, cost money. Those are optional, but I do list those in case you want to do them. If you were to go to Iceland, you're not going to be learning how to snorkel and scuba dive in Iceland. Generally, students are able to use their financial aid packages in some form towards any of our study abroad programs here at CGIS. And then your aid packages change when being applied towards study abroad programs, but that doesn't mean you can't use it. All financial aid will transfer over. It may or may not be as much as you receive here on campus because it depends on your program need and obviously how much your program costs. If you are an out-of-state student, these programs may be cheaper than what you were paying out of state, or if you are in state, they may be a little more. It really just depends on the program. As you see here on the right, I have the budget sheet for the Iceland program. The program fee to SIT at the time of this budget sheet was $27,000. That may or may not be more or less than what you're paying at U of M tuition, so that will change how much aid, a student will receive. But we strongly recommend that you meet with the Office of Financial Aid Study Abroad team to discuss how your aid package will be applied towards whatever study abroad program you decide to do. And then for course approvals, so start your conversations with your advisors early about how you can study abroad, as they can help you decide what requirements you can complete abroad and what must be done on campus. If you are a PITE student, PITE basically has pre-approved all of these programs already. You just have to see what each one is pre-approved for, but you will receive credit to go towards your PITE major. If you are any other major, just talk to your major advisor and say, hey, I'm looking at this program, will this count for X, Y, and Z of my major? You'll do the same thing for your minor, go to your minor advisor, or you can go to your general, distribution advisor and say, hey, I'm doing this program. Does this count for, let's say natural science, right? And like I told you earlier, LSA students will receive in-residence credit on the transcript no matter what, and classes taken abroad will automatically apply towards your GPA, but you do have an option to pass-fail your courses. Now, if you are taking these courses for your major or minor, you are not allowed to pass-fail them. But please, in any case, consult your academic advisor in case you are confused about anything, and narrow your choices down find the syllabus and, set up an appointment with them. We have a bunch of environmental programs, so it's a lot to choose from. And then if you were a biology, health, and society major or just a biology major, biology does not maintain a list of pre-approved study abroad programs or courses for fulfilling their major or minor requirements. Requests for approval are reviewed on a case-by-case basis, ideally prior to the start of your program. So let's say you were thinking of going to Panama and you are a biology, health, and society student. You should get those pre-approved now, then, before you're accepted into the program. Make sure that you know the program you are going on will count. And then you can submit all requests to the study abroad evaluation form, and lab requirements cannot be completed abroad. And then for health BHS, requests for courses in Group B have the best chance of success. And then for biology students, students are encouraged to study abroad for language acquisition, distribution minor credits, and experiential learning, which experiential learning is very good for all of these programs. Just make sure you talk to your advisor and get it approved. And then the multiple application policy. So CGIS only permits a student to apply to a second or third choice program if your top choice program is competitive. Students must rank their applications or no applications will be reviewed. So for example, if you apply to two competitive programs, I'm going to say, hey, which program is your first choice? I can't review these until you let me know. And competitive programs are only reviewed if they are ranked number one. So for example, if you want to go to Madrid, Carlos III, that's a non-competitive program. If you rank that number one and you rank Iceland number two, I have to withdraw your Iceland program because Iceland cannot be ranked number two since it is a competitive program. All of these environmental programs I have told you today are competitive, except for the Costa Rica program by ICADS. That environmental sustainability program is not competitive. And if you wish to apply to two programs, you must rank the first one competitive, and the second one must be a non-competitive backup program. And then you can look at our step-by-step instructions on how to rank multiple applications within the same term. If you are interested in two competitive programs, let's say you are interested in Kenya and Tanzania, you can only apply to one. If you apply to both, only the one you ranked number one will be reviewed. If you are interested in two non-competitive programs, you must only select one to apply. If you apply to both, only the first ranked one will be reviewed. Because if it's non-competitive, that means if you do the basic requirements, you will be accepted into the program. It's a very high chance. There's no need for you to have a backup. And then there are very, very few situations in which a third-rate application is needed or to be reviewed by CGIS. More than likely, we're going to withdraw that application. And then just to talk a little bit more again about financial aid. So please, please, please consult the Office of Financial Aid Study Abroad team about how studying abroad could impact your eligibility for financial aid and how much you're eligible for. In order to receive financial aid during the winter semester, you need to be taking at least 12 credits. For all CGIS programs during the winter, you will be taking 12 credits. No need to worry. We will make sure you are taking 12 for any of these environmental programs. A variety of funding resources are available to help CGIS students cover program-related expenses, but eligibility will depend on your program and your unique financial situation. To get an idea on the type of funding you can expect for this program or any of the programs you are thinking of here at CGIS, you can fill out the study abroad estimate worksheet and send it to financialaid.abroad@umich.edu or finaid.abroad@umich.edu, along with any other questions you may have. Now, this study abroad estimate worksheet is going to have you fill in stuff. You're going to fill in the blanks based on the budget sheet from the program. So earlier, I showed you the budget sheet for Iceland. You're going to look at that budget sheet and say, okay, this is how much everything costs. You're going to write all that down on the estimate worksheet. The Office of Financial Aid is going to look at it and say, okay, well, the total cost of this program is $30,000. You have X amount of financial need. The program is $30,000. We're going to give you X amount. And then that can kind of determine on whether or not you still want to do that program because it's an estimate. It's not 100% accurate, even though it is fairly close. And now I want to talk about our LSA Study Abroad Scholarship. So, did you know that 95% of eligible LSA students receive between $1,000 and $10,000, depending on the cost of their program and obviously their financial need? You would need, like I said earlier, take a minimum of at least 12 credits, and then applications for winter for the LSA Study Abroad Scholarship open up around mid-October and will close November 30th. So if you want more information about it, you can visit lsa.umich.edu/scholarships. And then if you want to meet with an LSA scholarship advisor, they can help you assess your eligibility for the scholarship. You can schedule an appointment with them, or you can also just email them if you have any questions or concern. And then down here we have linked other additional scholarships as well. And then you can go to our CGIS website for advising. So let's say you are still confused about what program you want to pick, or you know what program you want. Go to our advising page. So if you go to our CGIS website, you go to undergraduates, and then you go to advising. We have the read me first, just to learn a little bit more information before you get started. Then we have our peer advising and e-advisors. So our peer advisors are past CGIS alumni who currently work with us, who can help you find the right program for you. And then we have our e-advisors. E-advisors are students who have done the program and are willing to reach out to students who, want to do the program next. And then we have a little bit of information about grading credits abroad. And then depending on the program, you may have group advising or info sessions. We have them listed here by program and topic. And then depending on the program, we may have program-specific FAQ guides. And then we have the intercultural first steps presentation. That's similar to what I have just given you now, but it's more general for all of our CGIS programs and the type of programs that we have and the ways you can go about thinking about where you want to study abroad. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining. Do you have any more questions for me?